Leviticus chapter 18. Now, Leviticus chapter 18 is a very different tone, and it deals with sexual relations, which was common in the time of Egypt as well as at the time of Canaan. And in this case, uh, our view of Israel, that God is speaking to them, and God wants them to realize that for them to be holy, to be special, to have Jehovah God as their God, many things have to be different from the rest of the people, both in Egypt and in Canaan. And so that's the background. All right. Now, chapter 18, verse 1 says, the Lord spoke to Moses. And every time you see this word Lord in capital, it is Jehovah. And then he says, speak to the children of Israel. Say to them this, I am the Lord your God. I am Jehovah Elohim. According to the doings, the practices, I think will be a better word, right? Practices of the land of Mitzrayim in Egypt, where you used to dwell, you shall not do. Okay? And according to the practices of the land of Canaan, where I'm bringing you, you shall not do, nor shall you walk in their ordinances. Ordinances is statutes, things that they make as law, right? Their laws. Instead, you shall keep. Now, this word is keep, right? You shall observe and you shall keep. In fact, this is not this word. You shall observe. In fact, this is a wrong translation. It means you shall do my judgments and keep, which is God, my ordinances, to walk in them. The word walk is literally walk, right? Meaning your life must be in part of this, because I am Jehovah, your Elohim. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. I am the Lord. And so if a man does this, he shall live by them, because I am the Lord, I'm Jehovah, and you have to live by my ordinances and my judgments. It means is if you treat God as God, then you must do it. If you don't care, then you cannot be a part of this economy where God is bringing them to the land of Canaan. Whatever is described from verse 6 downwards, you find that there are practices either in Egypt or in Canaan. And so now they are told exactly what not to do. In verse 6, you shall not approach anyone who is next of kin. I think this would be a better word. Next of kin means nearest in relationship. Nearest in relationship with regards to his body, right? To uncover his nakedness. I am the Lord. Nakedness can be understood as shame. When the man and the woman ate the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, they realized that they were naked. in fact, that would be an appearance of shame, right? So you must not uncover. Uncover is to reveal, right? Reveal. Or to, how should we say? To remove the covers, okay? God says you cannot do that. Not only is it literal, you find that uncovering means to remove the clothing of his shame, and his shame would be read in context, could be him personally or who he protects. So we need to understand a bit of the Hebrew culture here. So if anyone does it to the near of kin, the next of kin, to uncover, he must not do it, right? So verse 7, the nakedness of your father, the shame of your father, or the nakedness of your mother, the shame of your mother, you shall not uncover. And the word uncover his nakedness, literally remove shame, has two meanings. So let me just briefly write down the meaning here. One is literally uncover. The second one is to have sex. Right? There are two meanings here. So you have to look at the context to actually understand the implications. So you shall not uncover the nakedness of your father or nakedness of your mother. Possibly in a literal sense, right? She is your mother. Why is that so important? Because as a mother, there is a respect, honor your father and your mother. And if you do that, you do not uncover her shame. You shall not uncover her nakedness. So one is literally uncovering here, or to have sex. So you shall not have sex with her. Basically, that's what it means, right? Continuing on, verse 8. The nakedness of your father's wife you shall not uncover. It is your father's nakedness. So to understand your father's nakedness, it is the nakedness of your father's wife. And the nakedness of your father's wife, this relationship, is the mother or stepmother. In the sense that the father may have many wives, and one of those wives could be the mother. So in this sense, the nakedness of your father's wife you shall not uncover. This gives us an idea of what Ham did to the mother, because it is your father's nakedness. So uncovering your father's nakedness is you have sex with your mother or your father's wife or your stepmother. So the Jews even say to this point, even if your father has died, you cannot, because that is a relationship that is taboo. And verse 9 goes on to say this. The nakedness of your sister, the daughter of your father, or the daughter of your mother, which means that it could be from a different father, right? The daughter of your father or the daughter of your mother, that the mother had a daughter from a previous marriage, whether born at home or somewhere else. Their nakedness you shall not uncover. Basically, you're not supposed to have sex with your sister. Verse 10. The nakedness of your son's daughters or your daughter's daughter, their nakedness you shall not uncover, for theirs is your own nakedness. Which means this: the nakedness of your son's daughter would be your grandchildren, that you're not supposed to have sex with them. And the reason is this: it is your own nakedness. Now, what is this concerning about your own nakedness, that the nakedness of a father includes the nakedness of your father, your mother, or the father's wife? In the Hebrew concept of a relationship, the man protects the woman. And anything to do with the man has to do with the woman. And so he has to protect the nakedness of both himself and his wife or his wives. And so that is the reason why it is phrased this way, because the ulterior responsibility of the protection lies on the man to protect his women. And anyone who touches the women touches the man. And so you could actually express it in these ways. And so the what Ham did to uncover the father's nakedness is that Ham actually had sex with the mother and then eventually bore Canaan. And that became very convoluted and very confused. And then the second one is the nakedness of your son's daughters, the nakedness of your daughter's daughter. What does this mean? It means this: anyone who is under you, you are to protect because they are part of your tent, your family. And so it is your own nakedness, and you don't do that, you respect that. Verse 11, the nakedness of your father's wife's daughter, which means that your father's wife had a daughter, not your sister. It would be a daughter that might be from a different father, begotten of your father. In this case, it would be your sister. She's your sister. You shall not uncover her nakedness. And this is same with this. The nakedness of your sister, daughter of your father, daughter of your mother, whether born at home or somewhere else, their nakedness you shall not uncover could mean a daughter from another marriage. But this case, it is begotten by your father, which means that she is your absolute sister. Right? You shall not uncover her nakedness. Verse 12. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's sister. She is near of kin to your father. Understand this. Near of kin is what we are talking about. Very close relationship to your father and to yourself. Right? You cannot do that. Verse 13. Verse 13 says this: you shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister, for she is near of kin to your mother. Now, all these statements have to do with honor your father and your mother. And that's how important God has placed this into the Ten Commandments. The early people, the early civilization, at the time of Noah, at the time of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they all had to respect this, right? It is not possible for them to actually have this kind of relationship. Now, this is imposed in this chapter 18. It is also taken from Exodus chapter 20. But more importantly is at the time of Abraham married his sister. But it is not his father's daughter. It is his father's son's daughter, which is his niece, which is okay. He didn't say anything here, right? You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's brother. Approach his wife. She's your aunt. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife. You shall not uncover her nakedness. And remember, uncover her nakedness, uncover somebody's nakedness is to have sex. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your brother's wife. It is your brother's nakedness. It's part of the family. You shall not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, nor take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness. They are near of kin to her. It is wickedness. What does this mean? You shall not uncover the nakedness of a woman. That would be your wife, right? He could be having a daughter from another father. You shall not take her son's daughter, nor her daughter's daughter, to uncover her nakedness. They are near of kin to her. She is your woman, and you need to protect everybody in her house as well. So it's considered wickedness, verse 17, right? Now this word wickedness, zimma, right? Zimma. You can translate it as a bad act. What should we say? It is evil, right? And so it is described to Israel that they are not to even do this. Nor shall you take a woman as a rival to her sister, to uncover her nakedness while the other is alive. What does this mean? Verse 18. You shall not take a woman as a rival to her sister, to uncover her nakedness while the other is alive. This is to rival. To rival is the key word here. Zara. To rival means to cause her to be caused to be in distress. Right? To how should we say, to cramp her or to persecute her. So the idea here is, if you don't like a woman, you should not take the woman's sister as a replacement for her. That is the idea here, while the other is still alive. Now, but we had a situation where Jacob married Leah and then married Rachel. But they were all willing, right? They were all willing. It was not a rivalry. It was not a persecution. So it's kind of different, right? Kind of different. But here God is saying very clearly in Leviticus 18 that you cannot do that, right? You cannot do that. Verse 19. You shall not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is in her customary impurity. This would be in her period. Moreover, you shall not have sex with her, with your neighbor's wife, to defile yourself with her. Now, this is important. Your neighbor's wife, verse 20. If you remember the 10 commandments, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. This is what it means, that you shall not take her to be for your own. If you do that, you will defile yourself. Right? Verse 20. You will be unclean in the eyes of God. Verse 21. And you shall not let any of your descendants pass through the fire of Molech. The fire of Molech is to walk through the fire. And this one would be in reverence to Molech, which is a god of the, I don't know, which god is this? Molech would be a god of the Ammonites, right? God of the Ammonites. If you do that, you will profane the name of the Lord. Profane would be to defile the name of the Lord, that you will make it unclean. And so the urgency for them to remember is this: I am the Lord. This is important. So have nothing to do with Molech, have nothing to do with the idols. So verse 19 goes away from the immediate family to your neighbor, right? Verse 22, you shall not lie with a male as with a woman. This one says that it's an abomination. Verse 22, Abomination here would be a disgusting thing, right? This is disgusting to the Lord. So what does this mean? You shall not lie with a male, as if she was as if this was a woman. And so this is important. Homosexual is now prohibited, right? You're not supposed to do that. Nor shall you mate with any animal to defile yourself with it. And this is bestiality. Nor shall any woman stand before an animal to mate with it. It is perversion and abomination, right? Again, this is a confusion that people, this is unnatural. And so these are things, 1, 2, and 3 is considered unnatural and is disgusting to God. Okay? Verse 24. It says, do not be unclean. Defile is be unclean. Right? Do not be unclean with any of these things, for by all these the nations are unclean, which I am casting out before you. What is God trying to say? For the land is unclean, therefore I visit with the punishment of its iniquity upon it, and the land vomits out its inhabitants. The idea here is God will judge. God will judge these nations who have become unclean, the Egyptians and the Canaanites. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations. Don't do any of this. Any of your own nation or any stranger. Stranger means non-Israel, who dwells among you. For all these abominations the men of the land have done, who were before you. Thus the land is unclean, lest the land vomit you out when you defile it, as it vomited out the nations that were before you. Whoever commits any of these abominations, God didn't call this sins, right? These are disgusting acts. And so even though God didn't call it sin, they call it disgusting act. God says the persons who commit them shall be cut off from among their people. Notice the word cut off, karat. Executed. Like yesterday. Anybody who eats blood or who offers sacrifice to idols, you will be cut off. And so all these things are considered cut off. So God is now purging the nations who are there in Canaan. And if Israel do exactly the same, Israel will be purged too. So God is very fair. The last section. You shall keep my ordinance. Keep is to guard, to protect, not just only to do, but make sure that the next generation will know it, so that you do not commit any of these abominable customs which were committed before you. What customs? These are disgusting, regulations, practices, which they committed, right? So right now, God says, do not make yourselves unclean by doing that. And it's important for us to realize this. God keeps saying, I am the Lord your God. I am Jehovah Elohim. I'm Jehovah Elohim. I am Jehovah Elohim, right? Uh, and it's important. Ani Eloha, Jehovah Elohim. This is the word. Ani Jehovah Elohim. I am the Lord your God. Ani Jehovah Elohim. And God kept repeating this because it has something to do with the name. If we live by God, if we know God as the living God, we better listen to him. Because all these things that was described, God is disgusted with it. In the fact, God says, if you do that, I will cut you off. And so, if you see that God is a living God, he's saying this when he is expressing his anger and displeasure, pleasure, then we should be aware. Make sure that we keep his ordinances. Keep his ordinances. And by keeping his ordinances, we will stay away from all these disgusting abominations. Now with this, we complete chapter 18. Any questions?
Pastor, in this chapter, God is actually, most of the lines I see is talking to men.
Yes. Most of the time, because the primary ownership in a family or in a tribe or in a nation is always the man. And so God, remember in Genesis chapter 2, told the man the commandments so that the man will relay it to the rest of the family, which means the woman. In this case, it is the man that God is very particular because the man is supposed to represent the family and to protect the family and to do exactly what God has told them. And so the man will pass down. That's what it means by keeping the commandment. And that's the intent that the man does. There are a few that specifically speak about women, but mostly about the men. Yeah, right.
So in this case, most of the commands there is given to the man. And if that particular rule is not followed, God is angry with the man, but the girl is let go, is it?
No. So if you see here, let's go back up. There's only one, I think, in the entire chapter. Here, in verse 23, nor shall you mate with, nor shall any woman stand before an animal to mate with it. I think that, huh?
I don't mean this. I mean that if the man is against the rule, God is going to punish the man, but not the one that he did. He had the sex with the lady.
Right. Yes.
Punishment is only on the man.
I see your point. Okay.
He's holding the man responsible only.
These rules are made towards the man because if you recall in the family unit, the man is the head. And so the man has the right to do anything because it's his house, right? His house, his rules. And so God tells Moses to tell them that now you are my people, my rules. So although it's your house, still my rules. And so God wants them to follow the rules that God has set rather than the rules of Canaan and Egypt. And because in the family unit, the father or the man himself is supposed to protect all the women. And if he does it to them, he is responsible. Yeah.
But in the case of harm is not punished. You see?
Ham
Because
wasn't punished.
Canaan
Correct.
is the one who got the blame.
Correct. So if you look at it, the rule starts here in Leviticus 18, but the problem, it has always been there. The rule starts now in Leviticus 18, but the problem of the confusion and unnatural relations has always been there. So if Ham had sex with a mother and gave birth to Canaan, so the confusion of relationship is really a curse to the person.
Okay. And verse 8, your father's nakedness is your mother. And
Right.
it is another wife's.
Yes, I had highlighted. Father's wife is mother or stepmother. Because your father could have many wives. So one of the wife could be your mother, and the other wives would be the other wives, the stepmother in our modern day terms. Yeah.
So verse 9, the sister will be the stepsisters.
Verse 9, the nakedness of your sister, the daughter of your father, or the daughter of your mother. So you can see here, this would be your sister, and this would be the stepsister.
Okay.
Or actually, this also could be a stepsister because of a different wife, right? But the daughter of your mother could also be a stepsister, or could be your own sister.
Your own sister.
Yeah. Because one of the things that we need to always remember is that there are always sometimes relationships where a woman or a man already had prior children, right? Before they got married.
So in this one, what about the rule that if the brother died, then another brother has to take over the wife.
It's not in Leviticus 18. It's in another chapter.
Yeah, it's so in another clashes chapter. With this or not?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. That one has to do with the brothers.
Because there is one also that you are not supposed to take over your brother's wife. Which verse is it? You are not supposed to take over your brother's wife because that is your brother's nakedness.
Right here, 16. 16.
So in this case, it's never mentioned if the brother died.
This one always assumes that the brother is still alive. Right? Still alive. The rule of having the second brother to marry the first brother's wife is after the first brother died childless with no heir.
Oh, with the condition childless.
Yeah. If the first son, see, remember, firstborn is to carry the family on, and the firstborn son has to have an heir. If the firstborn died without an heir, then the widow is asked to marry the next brother who has not married yet.
So it's only the firstborn.
Yeah. Only for the firstborn brother, that's correct. So the next brother who actually have children with the widow, the sons are in the name of the brother. So he's doing it for the brother.
Okay.
All right.
No, I have another question, but not concerning this one.
Okay.
I noticed that in Leviticus, it's never mentioned about abortion.
Correct.
So it is allowed, is it, during that time? God
It
allowed
means
it?
that they don't practice abortion. They don't practice abortion.
So nothing to talk.
Having to
no,
talk
no,
about.
no rules
Not
for
an,
such thing.
it's not an issue at that point in time. Yeah. But
Okay.
the sanctity of life means you don't. There's no issue of abortion in those days.
So for today, how are we going to approach this topic based
Uh,
on the Bible if there is no guidelines?
Mainly from many people's viewpoint, I think they say that life begins at conception, and as long as an egg has been fertilized, it doesn't matter how many weeks the child is alive, right? So we have Psalm 139 describing the formation of the fetus into a full-blown child. And hence, the Bible has always promoted the sanctity of life. And if a child at that point in time is a child in the eyes of God, then taking the life of that child is similar to killing.
And another one is, we have one verse just now talking about homosexual, is a man taking another man as a woman. But there
Yes.
is not the reverse, that a woman take another woman as a
Yes.
man.
Okay. This is what happened in many of the arguments, and people would say, well, the Bible is only clear about homosexuality, so nothing to do with lesbianism. I think we are a bit short-sighted if we want to argue that way. The principle why you don't lie with a male as like a woman, and why is it an abomination? Because it is a perversion. It is unnatural. It is a confusion. This is not what God has intended, and it is wrong. So it doesn't matter whether it says stipulate here, you shall not lie with a female as with a man, and so on and so forth. Because the Bible is not like our law, our legal term, right? To have 300 pages of terms and condition. This is to give us that principle such that we understand the mind of God. And if the mind of God is to tell us that things are not part of nature and we do it, then it is an abomination. It's a disgust to God. Animals will do with animals, human beings with human beings, man with woman, and not man with man. And then don't have to go and specify woman with woman. Because in the Hebrew mind, it is, I guess in the Chinese word, bao ga liao.
And also another one is, at one time, the Muslims were talking about men taking underage girls.
That one, another chapter.
There is
In another chapter. This will have to do with the issue of having sex with an unmarried woman versus a married woman, and we can deal with it. It's in the book of Deuteronomy.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye.